I'm Simone.
I'm Eddie. Hello.
Average Eddie, average Simone. With the average NFL weekend?
Yeah,
Average
I would
weekend?
say average stuff going on.
This is the average Joe Bro pod. Wanted a bone to pick with you. So I think we're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff. All right.
Okay.
I just feel like right now it's all about the NFL. I just wanted to put that out there.
That's what I was hired for. Is this not a football podcast? All right.
Yes.
What is it?
Eddie
Come
was
at me.
hired. His contract is lucrative. You can't just get anybody like this guy.
Definitely earning my keep more than Dak. Sorry. What's up? Talk to me.
No, that's it. That was the only bone. Just
Just that we don't talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, it'll be more sports besides the NFL. Yeah. Okay. The other thing about what's special about this pod is that we have ourselves a little barn burner. Eddie and I are playing against each other in fantasy football, and Eddie he went into this game, the Monday night game. We've got the game on. The second half is about to begin. And he started the game with a 26-point lead. And he has no other players playing. I have one player, and it's Garrett Wilson. And he's had
his best night of his career.
16-point first half. So this will be entertaining, to say the least. So you might hear some exclamations.
No.
Eddie is not optimistic that he's going to win. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot. Anything could happen, man. A whole second half.
I've got 7 points of leeway right now. We've got 2 whole quarters. Also, I didn't know you were going to bring this up, but since you went there, I'm going to contextualize it. So I am in first place in our league. I'm the only team that's still undefeated, which is kind of a miracle because I've lost the following players: Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Robinson, and then now Marvin Harrison. I lost him yesterday, and he went down with a goose egg for me. So you're welcome, Simone. You'll be the first to defeat me. That'll be good.
I see what you're doing, though. I see what you're doing. I think you're doing the reverse psychology thing.
I'm out of control. I can't call up Garrett and tell him to stop. I am making.
I've always thought of you as like the kind of person that was, what's the word?
Reverse jinx.
Shoot. What's the word for believing in jinxing?
Oh, I'm a little stitious. I am that way. Yes.
Yes. You are superstitious. So.
Yes, I am. But I do actually think you're going to win. I mean, Garrett had a great first half, and Rodgers is like having a throwback game, and the Bills defense kind of sucks. It just makes sense. So good job.
Aaron Rodgers completed his 4th Hail Mary of his career to end the first half.
Dude, yes. We both thought that Lazard dropped it, and I guess he didn't. I guess the Bills defensive back just kind of ripped it after he went down. But yeah, we were talking about before we started about how Rodgers just has like this magical touch, specifically on his like Hail Mary. He's obviously got a great throw just in general, but 4 is a stupidly high number, is it not, for Hail Marys?
Yeah.
Over a career?
Yeah, it really is. I don't know what the number is for other quarterbacks out there and how many times they've completed Hail Marys, but you got to assume that Rodgers is the top. He's done it the most.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he wasn't. Yeah.
Where were they? Like the 50-yard line?
I think they were past that. Let me find it.
And that ball was thrown around the 45, and it landed in the end zone.
Let's see. 52 yards. So yeah, he was probably Probably back at his about his 45. Yeah, spot on. So a
Not
solid
bad for a 4-year-old.
60-yard throw. Right.
Not as good as
Oh,
Flacco,
Aaron.
but you know.
He's working on it.
Oh my gosh, this camera. Anyways, this game is entertaining. Generally speaking, it's a good game. Got to potentially an MVP candidate, Josh Allen, playing like an MVP. We had a lot of MVP candidates playing this weekend. Dak Prescott, one of them.
He's the leader.
Yeah, dude, let's talk about.
All right, let's do it. Let's get out of the way.
So the Cowboys lose 47-9. And did Aubrey miss any kicks? No, right? Your best player.
I really couldn't tell you. I stopped watching a little bit after halftime. I've got to be real with you. I don't think he did. He's like our best player, so
Yeah, he
no,
might be.
probably not.
Did you know that a kicker has won the MVP before a wide receiver has? It's Redskins Mortensen.
A kicker has won
something like that.
most valuable player in the NFL before?
Yep.
You're lying to me.
And a wide receiver never has. Not even Christian McCaffrey's 2,000-yard receiving season. Whatever it was. Something ridiculous. But a kicker has won. Maybe Brandon Aubrey can do it if other kickers have set the precedent.
How did a kicker win MVP? How did I not know about this?
I don't know the story behind it. I just saw it on. You know me. I love my stats. I see a good one like that. I'm going to tell you.
Okay, I appreciate
it. Yeah, that was the only thing good about the Cowboys. That's not true. That's not true. The first half. No. The first drive of the game. I was like, shit. Cowboys are looking pretty good.
You can't pass any judgments on the first two drives for the Cowboys. Whenever they're in their script to start the game, they look fine, and then after that is when it all goes to shit. I was telling you last week, we were talking about how CD's like got these horrible stats in the second half, and I was telling you, like, yeah, they're scripting up like 6 passes for him in the first 20 plays, and then they don't never look his way, and it just happened again. And so me being a dumbass, I was like, there's no way the Cowboys are this predictable. I'm going to go ahead and bet CD 100 yards. But no, they actually just are that predictable. So I'm going to go ahead and leave them on my permanent stay away for at least the rest of the season, probably. It's
That's
like, yeah, it's literally the same game just over and over again. And it's funny because it keeps happening in Dallas. It was the Saints game.
Yeah.
It was the Packers game in the playoffs last year. It was Dak looking like an idiot, a clown that he is, making $60 million a year. I feel bad because he's so easy to like cheer for as a person. You know, he's a good dude, and he does kind of get like copious amounts of hate from some Cowboy fans. So I don't want to rail on him too hard, but I also can't defend him. Like, he looked so bad.
Yeah, he had a lot of inexcusable throws. Just like, it looked like throws that he didn't see a defender, and then the defender would just jump in front of the pass and pick it off. And he didn't even have time to do his patented stat padding.
Mm-hmm.
Because his stats were like 17 for 33, 170 yards, no touchdowns, a couple picks. I mean, yeah, those stats are probably more generous than how bad he was compared to how bad he was.
Yeah, well, he got pulled in the fourth quarter, I'm pretty sure, right? I thought I saw Cooper Rush in the game.
And Cooper Rush, picked up right where he left off and threw a pick in the end zone. So he just threw it right to Kirby Joseph? Kirby or whatever.
Yeah.
Kirby Joseph, yeah. Yeah, man. Cowboys looked bad. They might be one of the worst teams in the NFC.
Are they? So who's worse than them? I think you have to say the Giants still. Even though the Giants actually look decent, at least the Cowboys beat them. Fuck, who else? The Cardinals. The Cardinals are not better than the Cowboys. Or the Rams. I don't.
It'd be a good game if you
It would be a good
compared the
game.
Cardinals. By the way, the Cardinals are my stay away team. Fuck them.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I bet on them. Good God, their
had another bad one.
inconsistency is out of control. But anyways, if the Cardinals and the Cowboys played today, I would say the Cardinals would be favored. Not by a lot.
On a neutral side? Yeah,
On
I
a
think
neutral.
that's fair. But it'd
But it's
probably be
close.
like Cardinals -1 or something.
Yeah.
It is close. I think I would take the Cowboys, and I'm not even a homer. You know me. I'm really not a Cowboys homer. I'm like a fan by culture, not my decision.
You're
but,
forced into it.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Dak looks really bad and all that, but Kyler looks bad, and he doesn't have like an easy out. Like he's got Trey McBride, who's great, but I'd still rather have CD. And at least we have like one or two good players on defense once Parsons gets back, whenever that is. I don't know. I guess I'll stop there. No need to really go to bat for them. But the NFC is just so bad.
Don't worry.
So
I've got plenty of material on this game.
Okay. We're not even close.
I guess it's just low-hanging fruit maybe for me, just watching this happen. Oh, I'm going to pick on my own team, don't get me wrong.
I know. I'm aware.
It's worth noting in this game. I'll lay off the Cowboys a little bit. Aiden Hutchinson had a brutal injury, broke his leg. It was one of those injuries where Conor McGregor, it just goes limp noodle while he's falling. It was brutal. On his second sack of the game, he is the NFL leader in sacks. Most likely the MVP candidate, defensive MVP candidate. Not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, it was him or TJ, and now it's just TJ standing alone. Right. Maybe Garrett pulls the Browns out of the pits, but I doubt it. Oh, that's brutal, though. Honestly, first of all, it's just like, it sucks anytime anyone gets injured, especially when it's that bad. But he may be like the most valuable player on that team because they've got so many great ones, right? But on offense, it feels almost like if one went down, we actually talked about this like 3 or 4 weeks ago. If one of them went down, like say Amon-Ra went down, that's brutal. You never want that, but like they'd be fine, right? With their running backs and James Williams and Sam Laporta, etc. On defense, they're not going to be turned into like a turnstile either, but yeah, Aiden was just incredible. He's been incredible since his rookie year, and it feels like he's now vaulted into like at least top 4 defensive ends in the league. He's got a case for top 2 or 3. So I don't know. Hopefully they're still Super Bowl bound, maybe. But yeah,
I think they are. At least what they showed in that game. There's a difference between beating bad teams and beating them and dominating in every facet of the game. Like sometimes you can beat bad teams and blow them out, and just get lucky with like the bad team turning it over in ridiculous ways. Like
what the Saints did.
Yeah. It's true. Also, the Cardinals had a lot of those unbelievable turnovers. Like, the game should have been worse. But anyways, my point is the way the Lions beat the Cowboys, I felt pretty confident the Lions are going to be, even without Aiden Hutchinson. I think he's going to affect Lions moving forward in terms of Vegas believing in them. But just like they did last week when they went into Seattle without Frank Ragnow and then just dominated them. They're just one of those organizations that next man up. They're stacked, man. I think they're going to find a way to rebound and be just fine.
I think they'll be fine. Don't read me wrong. Sorry. They're going to make the playoffs, obviously. Probably get a bye and probably the 1 seed, I think. But I feel like in the playoffs, they'll miss Hutchinson. Not to say that they're going to get upset by like the Packers or something, but obviously you just want that level of talent back there. If it's like third down, it's a big play at the end of the game. And let's say they're in the Super Bowl against like the Chiefs or something. I'd want Hutchinson to have a prayer against Mahomes, right? I mean, that's not like really that smart to say. He's a great player, so We'll see. Hopefully, he comes back as good as he was this year. I'm sure he will.
Well, he
Next
had
year,
emergency
that is.
surgery on that leg, and they said right away
Yeah.
that he'll be ready for the 2025 season.
They said that already? Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool, I guess. That feels really early, but yeah, that's good news. It was a clean break or
I'm not
whatever.
sure
I
the
don't know
extent of
anything
the
about
injury, but
that.
it must have been like a clean break or something.
Yeah.
He went pretty limp noodly there.
Well, he knew immediately. They like zoomed in on him, and he was like removing his glove, and then he mouthed to his teammate. He was like, "Fuck, I broke it." Can you imagine? And it looked like all the players were about to cry, which is understandable. Even the Cowboys. Yeah, it blows.
Man, I hate seeing any kind of injury like that. I don't care who it's to, but those brutal ones, like I legit can't even watch ankle turns. I have nightmares about that kind of thing, and it's brutal seeing any type of injury that's that bad.
Oh yeah. That or like any kind of head whiplash is always really tough. It's the worst.
Even with Aiden going down like that, man, are the Lions so fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
They just utterly dominated the Cowboys, and it was just so fun. They were so good and fucking around so much. They put Panay Sewell at wide receiver for a play. It was so funny. That's a large man to be out there, and I can't tell you the last time that's ever happened. But they were just throwing trick plays out there, going forward on fourth down.
Ben Johnson was playing Madden against Mike Zimmer. It's so embarrassing. That flea flicker to Laporta. Oh, what a play!
Yeah,
I just finished talking up Overshown last week. Yeah, and then he got fooled. He's a rookie. It's understandable, kind of, but yeah. I'm looking at Zimmer. I mean, I guess I'm looking at the entire Cowboys organization, as we always have been. But you would think that they'd make some kind of change if it continues to be this bad. And the defense especially has just been so bad. Ugh.
Yeah. No Micah.
But yeah, let's focus on
right?
the lines. Right. No Micah, no Lawrence, no Deron Bland. I'd kind of forgotten that he hadn't even played this season. I think he's better than Trevon Diggs. Trevon Diggs does not look good. I kind of never thought he was really that good. He's always had the ball skills. But he's consistently gotten burned several times a year for big plays, even when he was getting like 8 interceptions a year or whatever. So there's problems all over. But yes, the Lions, we should keep the focus there. They're amazing. I don't know how they built such a stacked roster, man. If you look at like every single position, they've got studs everywhere. And last year they at least like kind of had a weakness in their secondary, but then they drafted 2 more studs there, Terrion Arnold and it's Rakestraw. I guess Arnold's really the only one playing, but he looked good. They all look good. And I guess maybe I should like adopt them. I have friends back home who are telling me, when are you going to adopt the Lions because your team is ass? And they're right. And now they're my local team, the Lions, but can't do that.
It would be allowed in your case, I think.
It would, but I will not allow it. That's not who I am. As I guess I'm just a masochist, as you know. So I'm going to continue to enjoy my wall.
I got Garrett Wilson 1-on-1 on the outside. Oh, no, they're doubling him now. Oh, we threw it to him anyways. Oh, dang it.
They need to continue to double him, please. I think that would have been game, right? Maybe
yeah,
not.
if he had scored, that would have been a catch, touchdown, game over.
Yeah, I think so. For us. Anything else on Lions Cowboys other than Cowboys suck?
Pause.
Good job. Let it out, brother.
Did you see Jordan Lewis's direct message to Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I don't think so. No, like on social media.
Yeah. Okay. For context,
No.
Jordan Lewis was talking mad shit to George Pickens, and it's understandable
I
considering he
know
was
that.
being a
Yeah,
little baby.
they both like to talk shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jordan Lewis DM'd cornerback, by the way, for the Cowboys. He starts, right? He's
Yeah, he's our
outside
slot
corner.
corner. Yeah,
Okay,
I guess
slot
maybe he
corner.
is outside right now
Nickel.
just because Bland. But he's a starter. Yes.
All right. Well, the
Firefox.
tweet was Amon-Ra St. Brown screenshotting a direct message of Jordan Lewis to Amon-Ra.
Was
And
this before the game? I had to be right.
after the game,
Oh no. Oh my god.
and that video is a response of Amon-Ra talking shit about Jordan Lewis saying that Amon-Ra wasn't a good receiver. And he says, "You're a bitch."
Jordan said that. Yeah, he did. Oh
like,
god.
you're losing by fucking 40 points.
All right. We must forgive Pickens right now. Dude, I didn't know he was this like immature. He's been in the league for like 6 or 7 years. He knows who Amon-Ra is. Come on now. Fuck's sake.
Anyways, that was my last thing. I couldn't help but bring that up. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, good job. I'm kind of glad Amon-Ra exposed him. I'm really tired of all these Cowboys acting like they've done something. Especially against a great player. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, I got not much there. I'm watching football now. I'm not watching for the Cowboys.
That sounds like it's going to be much less stress on you on a per weekend basis. Not having to watch the Cowboys as much if you're no longer doing it.
Well, I have to follow them because of CD. I have them in, I would say, my most emotional fantasy league, which is not the one that we're in. So that gets frustrating watching Dak just throw him terrible throws. But yeah, as far as like the Cowboys themselves, I think a lot of fans are like this, especially younger fans, where like we kind of just laugh at them as much as anybody else, you know, because we've come to expect the worst. So what's the point? But let's move on. Sorry.
So Robert Saleh got fired.
Yes, you did. I think that was the day after our pod last week, right?
Yeah. We were already talking about how like the coaching was the biggest problem in New York, and I don't think it's a coincidence that the Jets, they look good right now, and it's because they have a very strong run game right now. They have over 100 yards on the ground, and it's just the beginning of the third quarter. So, and there's also like, I believe there's like a phenomenon of a new coach on the first game. Like, for some reason, they do well, and I think we're experiencing that tonight.
Definitely.
You know, that happened with what's his name,
Antonio Pierce last year, and he's not a good coach, right?
No.
I remember actually when the Cowboys fired. Sorry to bring them up again, but you said that when we fired Wade Phillips and we promoted Jason Garrett, who's like an awful coach, right?
The clapper.
See him on NBC now. Yes, the smiler. We actually like went on his run there with him in that first season, and he was promoted to permanent head coach because of those like wins that we ended up getting. So yeah, it's something about maybe it's like the fact that when coaches get fired, they are kind of pissing everyone off in the locker room. I don't think Rob was really doing that, but I guess maybe. I don't know.
I think there's a factor of not having enough film on the new coach out in the open. Same thing goes for quarterbacks. Because you remember when Mike White was good, the Jets quarterback last year?
Will
Zach
Levis
Wilson
last
went
year.
down.
Yeah. Remember Levis had
He
like
was
5
good.
touchdowns. Yeah. In his
But
debut.
now he's barely on rosters because there's plenty of film on him, and it turns out he's not that good.
Right.
I think there's that factor with coaches too. But they had to do something. The New York Jets have scored 93 points in the first 5 games of the season, the same number of points that Zach Wilson led them to in their first 5 games. And they have Aaron Rodgers now, healthy.
Zach is exonerated. Let's go. Well,
Man, you know what? This entire weekend, including Thursday Night Football, dude, offense has been off the charts. Very high scoring games.
It was like that sort of last week too, after those first few weeks of just terrible offense. But I feel like that's kind of normal though. Maybe I'm extrapolating too much, but I feel like the last few years we've seen slow starts on offense league wide, and then it kind of finds an equilibrium around like week 6 or 7 or something. Because I don't know, players always talk about like in training camp specifically, they're like, oh yeah, defense always has the edge when it's this early. We're still doing install or whatever. We're still figuring out the playbook, this and that. But it does make sense. Like they're not just talking out of their ass, right? On defense, you get the benefit in that like you have like a unified goal, right? Pretty obvious. See ball, stop ball. On offense, it feels a little bit more complicated. Not to say that defense isn't, especially in the NFL, but there's a lot more going on, right?
Yeah.
Whereas defense, there's like cover 2, single high, et cetera, and of course you have like your specialties in each defense. But for the most part, everyone's a pro and they can kind of come in and do their thing. On offense, it's like specific skill sets matter more, specific quarterbacks matter, and like zone blocking schemes, all that stuff. I don't know, but I don't think every week's going to be like this either. I'm sure we'll have a few more duds, right?
Well, I think that my opinion is that when the favorites succeed like this, there's more offense and they're covering. The favorites this week went 8-3, which is the first time all the chalk bets were finally paying off for the public. Public have had a rough go of it.
First time this
first
season?
5 weeks of the season. Yeah. If you might remember last week, I brought up the stat that the underdogs were 16-2-1, right? Which is ridiculous. And most of those games are when underdogs are keeping it a close game. It's low scoring. It's sloppy. Offense isn't very good. Well, I think what's happening is when underdogs are winning games, they're winning the ugly games, the ones that are close.
Yeah.
Their defense is playing well enough to shut down favorites' offenses. But when favorites are playing well, their offenses are playing really well, and they're covering and they're putting up a lot of points, and then you're going to see the favorites win and cover. So I think it kind of makes sense with the trends at the beginning of the season with all the underdogs covering and winning outright. And then now this is the first week where we've had favorites go out and finally do what they're expected to. And lo and behold, you have a lot of scoring.
Yeah, and underdogs want to shorten the game, obviously, like in any sport for the most part. They want to limit possessions and control time of possession and leave less opportunity to get out-talented by the better teams. But
you also have
as
to
a viewer,
that
it's okay. Yeah.
As a viewer, I mean,
we like points. That's what I was gonna say. So this has been
I
nice. Or I like points, but I can appreciate some ugly football.
We both like defense. It's hard to say that there's been a lot of
entertaining
games as opposed to there's been a lot of sloppy games, a lot of bad product out there.
Yes,
and
too much.
Yeah, and I think there's been another case for the shortened preseason really affecting the teams in the first 3 weeks of the season. It looks like it's the first 3 weeks of the season is now becoming the preseason. And
that's a great point. Yeah, especially with all the holdouts. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like 20 years ago, as far as I know, I mean, I'm not the most informed of that era, but it wasn't really a thing to like hold out of camp, right? You show up and you play, and if you're unhappy, like I don't know, you just deal with it. Oh fuck, dude, you're gonna win. But yes, like CD, Brandon Ayuk, you've really seen it with Ayuk. They just
Yep.
they don't look ready to play. Like this is what they're supposed to be doing in the preseason. You're right.
I see why you said, oh, fuck. Go, Garrett. Closer and closer to a W.
Oh gosh, I just want it to be over. Honestly, don't have to think about it.
Aaron Rodgers went on record of saying that when he was in his 4th year, when he took over for Brett Favre, that he was playing like the first halves of preseason games. There's 4 preseason games, right? And he was in an interview. He was like, "Yeah, now I'm hardly playing, and it seems like that's the way it goes in the league.
Yeah,
Like all the starters don't play, and that's affecting how they show up in the beginning of the season because those reps are really important. You can't really simulate game reps in practice." And I think he has a point.
yeah, it's just not the same. And even like the joint practices, which make a lot of sense, and players talk about how important they are. Of course, you need those reps too, but I think there's also something about the specific like game day routine, even the crowd, the cameras and stuff. I think all of that really plays a factor on like a human level, right? So I don't know. Hopefully they learn something, the league, I mean, as a whole. But I also obviously we understand like you don't want to injure your players, right? So I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, but maybe they'll find a better balance next year.
This might be an oversimplification, but I think it's safe to generalize lack of preparation and lack of rest time will result in games to be low scoring, injury riddled, sloppy, that kind of thing. Look at Thursday Night Football. We've already complained about that before in previous pods. Like
London,
it's rare
Germany.
to see offensive explosions like we've seen with the Bucks and Falcons, and now the Seahawks lose 22-36 to the Niners. And I don't know what the stats are, but I know last year it was so hot to bet the unders on Thursday nights, and now we've had 3 weeks in a row of Thursday Night Football just going way overboard in scoring, and it's interesting. I would have expected, generally speaking, with lack of preparation time, that games would be crappy like Thursday Night Football usually is.
It has been different this year, hasn't it?
It has. It's been, I would say, an anomaly.
That's what
I'm
think
gonna
too,
bet
yeah.
the under again next week. Like
Oh
I've
boy.
I've consistently bet the under now for
Who's
a couple years, and it's like
who's
winning
this
over
week?
60%. So that's a profit. I'll take it. So I'm gonna let
That's
the
a good
numbers do the
margin,
talking.
You're gonna let your bankroll do the talking. Oh, dude, yeah, this one's an easy under this week, right? Broncos Saints. I'm not watching that.
So I don't think there's a lot to talk about in the Thursday night game, right? Niners beat the Seahawks. Seahawks can't stop anybody.
No,
And the Niners are a different team without McCaffrey, but they're good enough to beat teams that. Well, the Seahawks are 4-2 now, so.
no, they're 3-3. They were 3-0.
Oh, they're 3-3. I got that wrong last week too.
And then they lost in order. They lost Lions. Was it Bucks? I don't know. There's someone in between, and then there was Niners. Oh no, it was a bad team. Who did they lose to?
The Browns?
No, I don't think so. 1 second.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers is such a diva.
Oh yeah.
His body language is so bad all the time.
Oh, they lost to the Giants.
They lost
Yes,
to the
yes.
Giants. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember that because they were the Giants were 7-point dogs, and then they lost outright.
And they didn't have neighbors, and they still beat them.
And they didn't have neighbors. Exactly. Wandale Robinson
Yeah.
went off. God, dude, NFL is just so fucking hard to predict. Like, there's always weird things you can never plan for. Anyways, not much else to talk about in that game. I think that division itself dude, I don't know what to make of it yet. We need more data because everybody's just so inconsistent, including the Niners.
Oh, you mean the conference as a whole?
Yeah.
Or
No,
NFC
the
West?
division, the AFC
Okay.
West, the NFC West, excuse me. It's I don't know what to think. I don't know if the Niners are actually good. I'm going to wait until they get Christian McCaffrey back because he is a game changer. And then I'll be confident in saying they're going to take that division. For what it's worth, the Niners are going into next week playing the Chiefs, and they're going to be favored by a point.
The Niners are favored.
The Niners are favored, yeah. So that's going to be the biggest tease in America. I can guarantee you that. On the Chiefs.
What slot is that? Yeah, that's probably like the single game I'm most excited for this weekend. Oh, it's the late slot. Okay. You're right. They're kind of an enigma. We've talked about them a bunch, and we've gone like every which way without really landing anywhere. The Niners. We said last week like they need CMC back. I still think that's really true. I love Jordan Mason. I'm profiting a lot off of him, but he had that one run last week. He got hurt too, but I think he's going to be fine. But before he got hurt,
he got hurt?
He ripped off. Yeah, I think he did something with his ankle. I don't know. It was like a minor injury. No, it was his shoulder. He landed on his shoulder. Sorry. And he went into the tent, but then he came out, and then he got one carry, and then he was done. He like came out,
shit.
and he like, yeah, but I really don't think it's that bad. I think at worst he'll be out like a week or two. Although maybe by then CMC's back. I don't know, but I doubt it. But anyway, he had like a 40-yard run early on in the game against Seattle. And I was thinking at the time, like, dude, CMC scores this without a doubt. Because there was so much space. It was like one of those runs where you find the hole, and then he like runs towards one sideline, but then cuts it back, and then he's running the other way. You know, it was kind of like what CMC would do, except Mason's just not as fast or as good. So, yeah, hopefully we see Christian back at some point. And I think the Niners, their whole scheme really relies on having that one tool that can just sort of do everything. I guess we've already said this before, but I don't know. Without him, I just don't think they're the same threat. You know, they've got a bunch of great players, but he's sort of what makes them like the Shanahan Niners, I feel like. But I guess I'm not that worried either. I mean, they still got so much talent. They'll make the playoffs, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
I'll still take them to win the division.
Let's move on. The Jaguars played the Bears in London and ended up being a blowout. And Caleb Williams looks pretty freaking good. I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but I think the Bears have a quarterback.
They definitely have a quarterback. I actually wasn't that even impressed with him, to be honest, in that game. I thought he looked good. And, like, compared to the first couple of weeks, for sure, I think Chicago's feeling great now.
He's shown steady improvement compared to last week.
Yeah, exactly. But he's not the one winning the games, basically. Whereas, like, Jaden Daniels is. I guess I shouldn't compare them. But their defense and their O-line, honestly, is pretty good. Like, their running back room is really not that great. But regardless of who they throw back there, they've always got room to run, and they're picking up like 5-6 yards at a time. I don't know. I'm like lukewarm on the Bears as a whole. Did you know that division, each team has like a better point differential than any team in the league that's not in the NFC North?
No, but I believe it. They're 17-5 as a whole, the division.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's never happened in the NFL when an entire division gone to the playoffs. But I think this year it's possible.
It definitely is, yeah. I'm really interested.
You're not a believer in the Bears, huh? That's what I'm most interesting to me. Like, what is it that's lukewarm? First, let me ask you this. Considering that Caleb Williams was the first rookie quarterback to take their team to a 4-2 start, and be as successful as they've been.
You mean the first overall pick, right?
No, rookie.
Well, because
quarterback.
Daniels is a rookie.
Yeah.
Aren't they like 5-1 or something?
Yeah, I think that might make two of them.
Okay.
No, that's a good point, and I think Caleb and honestly, both of them are doing, some things that nobody's seen for a long time. So it's fair to say that the teams are legit, but you don't believe that, do you?
Well, I do believe they're legit. I don't mean to like shit on the Bears. I think they're a good team. Talking about Williams specifically, I think he walked into the best situation any first overall quarterback ever has walked into to start.
I don't know, man.
Close.
Their line is really bad.
Really?
No, offensive line. Well, they've been playing better, but at the beginning of the year, he was running for his life.
Yeah, but some of that was on him. But you're right. But they're definitely much better at run blocking, at least. And it feels like Shane Waldron he does have great weapons, yeah. Like that receiver. Cole Kmet's a good tight end, and then we know about the defense. I don't know. I also think their schedule has been kind of light. It
has. That's true.
100%. I'm curious to see what they look like once they start playing their division rivals, because I don't really like them against any of the other three, being honest. So yeah, I think the Bears have a lot of hope, like in a long-term view, but I don't know. I think they're going to get smacked around a little bit once they start playing Packers, Vikings, Lions especially.
Bears' upcoming schedule, they got at Commanders, at Cardinals, home for the Patriots, home for the Packers, home for the Vikings, at Lions. I mean,
nope.
They've got some easy games in there, but maybe two.
I could see them going 1-5 during that stretch, honestly.
Yeah, and then I didn't even say the rest of it because they've got. They're playing both the NFC West, and then their in-division games are ridiculous, of course. They still got to play the Packers twice. So, yeah, you're right. This is the easiest portion of their schedule, save playing the Patriots at home. So it's going to be – we're going to find out a lot about this next game. They're going to the Commanders, and we can jump over to the next game.
That's going to be fun.
Well, also – oh, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I wanted to mention one thing. Trevor Lawrence was not that bad in this game.
You're right.
He had like several drop touchdowns, and the coaching is not doing him in any favors. So that team is a mess. So it's just rough for them, and I actually don't care that much about the Jags.
No, I don't either. But Gabe Davis dropped a touchdown on the opening drive. It was in his hands. It's tough.
How old do you think Trevor Lawrence is?
I would guess 24, I think.
Yeah. He's only 24, man. It's going to be fine. I've mentioned before he doesn't have it, but I haven't lost hope yet. I feel like he still has time to figure it out. I just feel like this season might be lost, considering it doesn't seem like his coaching is improving him. He's taken a step back, if anything. I'm just waiting for that time when he gets like an actual good coach, and he finally starts developing at a trajectory that's the same, if not better, than the other young quarterbacks. Lamar, Allen, these guys that have improved steadily over the years, and Lawrence has not.
I hear you. I think so. When we talked about him, whatever week that was, I was under the impression we were discussing, like, does he have it? Meaning, is he going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL? Is he going to jump into that top tier? For me, that answer is still definitely not. But I don't think he's Will Levis either. I think he's got many years ahead of him still playing quarterback.
Will Levis being thrown under the bus constantly.
Yeah.
So funny.
Well, who else are you going to say?
Dude, he's so bad.
Yeah, he's the worst. Yeah, Lawrence is going to be fine. I just don't think he's going to become like a franchise-altering guy,
Uh-huh.
which for a first overall pick, that's what you want. I think Caleb Williams, obviously, he's got plenty of time. I think he will be ultimately. I don't think he's there now, just as like a comparison since we just talked about him. Whereas Lawrence, you're right, he's still very young. And this past game in London, that wasn't his fault at all. I don't know what happened to his teammates. They all didn't get off the bus. But he, like, in other games, though, he has looked pretty rough, right? I don't know. Maybe they are just cursed, the Jags. And maybe they need to move to London, and then he can develop there.
They're living there right now. Their next game is in London, so they're not going anywhere.
Dude, Lawrence would actually make so much sense as like a British football mascot. I don't know why. He just looks British.
All right, let's move on. So, man, we had an awesome game with the Commanders and the Ravens. A game that features 4 Heisman winners: Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Marcus Mariota. He plays for the Commanders.
Dude, I forgot that
they all played
on the Heisman.
Yeah. And you could look at this game as like, winner makes a strong case for MVP. Or it's a foreshadowing for MVP. And the Ravens win. They win by a touchdown?
That feels right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were up for the majority of the game, but this was the game that I didn't watch a whole lot of football, like I told you, this weekend. But this is the game that I probably saw the most of, with Red Zone constantly being showing them. And man, it just, whenever the Commanders had the ball, even though they were down 10 points at the most, you just felt like when they were driving, they always had a chance. Like you didn't feel like they were too far away. They're just like a team that was opportunistic and really did a good job of hanging around, making plays.
They kept converting 3rd and long.
Yeah. It's crazy. Whenever you're able to make those kinds of long conversions, you have something special.
Yeah, Daniels is a problem.
Yeah, man. I love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good.
He's amazing.
Oh, dude. Did you hear about Jaden Daniels' training approach?
No, I didn't.
So he started doing this at LSU. But apparently what he does is he uses a special program, an AI program, that's virtual reality, where the AI program will set up defenses that he's going to face in the upcoming week. And in this program, it's basically a game or a play that it's formed around the defense that he's going to be playing. And then he'll get reps by not throwing the ball, but he'll make the same game speed reactions that he would, but in this AI environment. And he was talking about that in I can't remember whose pod, but I just think that's interesting because nobody else does that. And that's got to be a special way to train that's helped him get to where he is now, right?
That puts a whole new meaning on the term modern quarterback.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. He's basically like playing Madden to get ready, but with his body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in how sophisticated that AI is, if it's able to replicate specific schemes. Whatever he does obviously works, though. So
I forwarded it to you on IG. If you
you did?
Take a look.
Okay, I'll open that up after. Sorry.
But yeah, so Jaden is special, and his preparation, he's a dog. He is like a workaholic type of person. That's what at least portrayed in the media. So and it shows on the field. Like the dude he's such a playmaker. And he scrambles to make plays. He doesn't scramble to get rushing yards. You can always tell the difference, right?
Right.
When you compare it to somebody like Bo Nix or Justin Fields. But it wasn't enough. What hurt the Commanders is their inability to stop Derrick Henry, who had a couple touchdowns and a couple tutties, 70 yards, something like that. He is on pace now. Derrick Henry is on pace for 23 touchdowns and 2,000 yards. How many yards do you think he has right now?
Right now, it's been 6 games. I guess like 720.
700, which is not that much. It's the touchdowns that are
That's still
impressive.
a lot, though. Yeah, it's well over 100 a game, obviously.
True. The record for touchdowns in the season is 28. So he is
rushing or
for rushing touchdowns. So for that record, 30 years old, he could fuck around and beat that. Break that record.
Yeah, they might try to
crazy.
get to him.
Yeah. But anyways, that rushing game is borderline unstoppable. It's the defense that's going to hold back the Ravens right now because, I mean, you got to give credit to the commies. They are. I think it's time to start calling them a good team. I think a lot of people have hesitations with that, especially with their defense. But their defense is good. I think their defense is. They've got a great pass rush. They make plays. They cause turnovers. Like, they're not a bad defense.
They've gotten better every week. You're right.
Yeah.
So they were trashed the first couple weeks, and now Dan Quinn has shown himself finally.
Yep. Dan Quinn, the defensive coach, finally. It was a matter of time. Brand new team, head coach.
Yeah.
So.
And they always had like legit elite talent on or maybe not elite, but really good talent on the D line specifically. Their corners are still trash, but they're getting home, and that obviously makes the secondary look a lot better, even though if they're not the best. So, yeah, I saw that even against the Ravens, like they were able to pressure Lamar some, and obviously he still had a great day, but even just having to make him work, like the fact that you notice that at all against an offense like Baltimore, it does make Washington pretty legit. You're right. I was thinking the same thing when I watched the game, is that they are actually a good team, and now it feels like it's more a question of can they compete for like a top 2 or 3 seed. That may be a little too much, but I don't know. You're right. The Eagles kind of suck too, so maybe they will win 12 games or something.
Yeah. The Commanders gave Lamar Jackson his first interception of the season. Not a coincidence. They're just opportunistic like that. So it bodes well. I think I actually think they're gonna go into next week's game with a chip on their shoulder. They're gonna be favored, I think, by like, I had to guess, 4 points. But I think they're gonna come out next week against the Bears and beat the living hell out of them. Actually,
I do too.
I mean, the Bears are traveling back from a short rest, so yeah, I think this is the kind of spot that the Commanders are going to make a statement against the other rookie quarterback. So real quick, I wanted to ask you, because last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a discussion about the best running backs in the NFL. And I think it's fair to say that Henry is one of them at this point. He's put the stats up. But man, we didn't get a chance to talk about like Henry as a, like, you put him in a vacuum as a running back. I see you shaking your head.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, man, he's tough to watch because he just kind of rumbles and bumbles and just, he's not really juke heavy. He's got good enough vision. If he's got the good
He's
blocking,
Giannis.
He's Giannis, yeah. Yeah. And man, he's putting up numbers, but is he a good running back?
Well,
he's not a bad running back.
He's okay. Of course he's a good running back. Well, what are you asking me here? I'm a little confused because I thought you were going one way, but maybe
no, you're right. I mean, I didn't give you a good question there. It's just more so, what do you consider a good running back? Like, with that question, a better question maybe. Who do you think is the best running back of all time in the NFL ever?
All right. In my limited NFL knowledge, I would probably go Barry, and I haven't even watched a lot of them, honestly. But I know, I mean, I've seen like some clips, and I also know the numbers. And from my understanding, is like Barry is on kind of his own tier. Barry Sanders, obviously. Uh, After that, I guess a better answer that I could give is like who's the best running back that I've actually seen, like in real time. Oh, dude, I think I'd probably go one of three ways, and this is not in order, but Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Jamal Charles. And that's not a homer pick. For me, Jamal Charles was like exactly what I kind of look for in a running back,
He's
which
still
is
the all-time leaders in yards per carry.
oh, he is? Well, there you go.
Yep.
That sums it up, I guess. Even though I've just finished shitting on yards per carry last week. But no, he's so shifty. But more than that, he's just like so good at picking up those yards that most running backs are not going to get. And there's obviously many ways to do that. So like Henry, aesthetically for me, Henry's not the most pleasing, but he's objectively insanely good because he's so strong and big. And once he gets downhill, like you're not gonna stonewall him, right? Whereas Jamal was like a smaller, obviously, quicker back,
crafty.
Yeah, and then you got like the guys who are kind of in between, like Adrian Peterson. I don't know. What about you?
For what it's worth, LaDainian Tomlinson he's the one with the NFL record of 28 rushing touchdowns. So
okay,
that's interesting. And then also, I respect the Barry pick. He is my favorite, and I've done like multiple autobiographies on him. Love that dude for so many reasons.
And he's the best.
Did you know he is the NFL's leader in most tackle for losses, rushes for losses?
No, I didn't know that. Go.
Yeah, he had, I don't know the stats on this, but I know he had a lot of explosive plays to overcome the over 2,000 yards and tackles for losses because of all the times his line, if you didn't know this, the Lions' line has always been bad. So he's constantly been dealt a shit hand throughout his career, rushing behind lines that have been really, really bad. So he's getting hit in the backfield all the time. But his play style made it so that he's avoiding tackles, and a lot of times it'll have him go backwards. And when the line is bad and you're going backwards, you're going to run into tackles in the backfield. So it just kind of goes with this style of play. But he's still my favorite running back. I think he's the best running back of all time. Yeah. But a lot of people might say sweetness, Walter Payton is the best, and I've always loved AP. And LT also is up there for me.
AP's
Smith.
legs are just tree trunks.
Yeah. But anyways, that's all I was thinking about, because I'm just like, that would give a good perspective on what you consider a good running back, and I think the Jamal Charles thing paints a good picture of that. I think that's cool. I can respect somebody with recognizing somebody's skills as a running back, as opposed to, I don't know, a Baltimore fan being like, "Oh, Derrick Henry, how is he not the best?"
He's not. He's not in the conversation. I mean, he's amazing, but no.
Yeah, it's not like I know anybody that's doing that, but I could see it.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure Baltimore fans are.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about my shitty team. The Saints played the Bucks, and we started Spencer Rattler. And it looked good at first, 27-24 in the first half. You're laughing. And in the second half, we just shit ourselves and lost 51-27. Our defense did not show up, and it was fucking embarrassing. Starting the year off 2-0, and we are now 2-4. So we're officially a bad team.
Oof, and the Bucks are for real.
Yeah. I'll sprinkle a little bit of MVP odds on Baker Mayfield. He's playing Baker. Yeah, dude.
Can't hate on that. It's been 6 weeks. I think he's QB3 in fantasy right now, or
didn't
maybe
know
even
that.
QB2. I don't know. He's 2 or 3.
Shit.
Yeah, it's all the touchdowns. But it wasn't the game. The game was not just 27-24. You skipped the part where the Saints were down 17-0 after like
Oh yeah.
5 minutes. But then
Yeah.
after 5 more minutes, they were back up like 21-17 or something.
We had some bad turnovers that led us to that point.
Yeah.
That was if it wasn't for a return touchdown by Rashid Shaheed, that give us the momentum to come back and take the lead, it would have been a blowout from the get-go. So
it was like the most NFC South game I've ever seen. And it felt like a Cowboys game too, where the Saints took on their best Cowboys impersonation. Yeah. I kind of feel for you. I know how that feels.
Don't do that.
I'm serious.
Just say that I told you so, or just recognize that I told you.
But I can't, dude. No, after week 2, I sat here and I was like, "Oh, the Saints are my pick to win the NFC South." So.
Oh yeah, I meant for me to you. I was never convinced. So
yeah.
I don't know. This is like kind of in line with expectations, but I am. Spencer Rattler was nice. He was a little frisky.
He wasn't bad. Yeah.
Fun to watch. What I like about him is he was a playmaker. He went out there and, he does things that Derek Carr would never do. He's willing to keep the play alive to go and make a play, but Derek Carr is just going to fucking bomb it or dump it off.
He wasn't scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a few like really bad throws, but he also had a couple where it's like, oh, there might be something. Olave got destroyed.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw that.
Rattler, he made like this public declaration that I'm going to give Olave the ball all the time because he's different. And little did Olave know that he's also going to put his receivers in a position to get fucking laid out. He was doing that all game.
Yeah, he doesn't care, which I guess, in a way that's his job. I don't know. Did he say specifically the phrase that Olave is different?
Yes, he did. He specifically said that.
Okay, nice. Let's go, Spencer. Gen Z quarterback. I like Olave a lot, as you know. But yeah, he got brutalized, and then he was just done. Must have to watch.
A guy named Bub Means replaced him and had a good game.
He did. I heard his name several times on the broadcast.
I know, and I heard it too, and I was like, I don't know what Bub means. What does that mean? I don't understand.
Looks up Bub.
And then I realized, I don't know this Saints player. I figured Tipton would be the one taking the spot, but I guess not.
Oh, and
I guess this means that, well, unless you can give me a better name, Bub means best name in the NFL, baby. We got that on the Saints.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I was trying to think of one. You gave me a bunch of good candidates last week on that game we played, but I can't remember any of them. I like Tank Bigsby as a name, but it doesn't measure up to Bub Means.
Bub.
What's up, I got no qualms there. Bubba Mean.
Well, that's all I had on my shit team. We just have a sick receiver with a sick name, and then Spencer Rattler might be pretty good. So that's cool.
If you keep losing, might as well just leave him out there, to be honest.
I really hope so.
They'll never do that, though. But yes, that's what I think a lot of teams.
Which is stupid because, what's the worst case scenario? We get a good pick. Like, if the season is fucked, why are teams? If I were the Panthers, I would have left Bryce Young out there because then you're gonna get a good pick and maybe even a quarterback that would replace him.
That's what the Titans are doing,
and you're giving him experience.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Can we touch really quickly on the huge contrast between the NFL and the NBA when it comes to embracing the tank? The NBA is like the other extreme. I don't know, maybe it's changing a little bit, but at least a few years ago, everyone was trying to tank. It's like when the Warriors were at their worst. Nobody wanted to try to stand up to them. On one hand, on paper, we get it, makes sense. Yes, Sam Hinkie. Yes, blah blah blah. You're smart, but also like you're playing a game. Like, what are you doing if you're not trying to at least be competitive? So in the NFL, I've always kind of agreed with the mentality more.
Hmm.
Like any head
Expect you to
coach,
say
even
that.
on a bad team, wants to win, which we both know. Like losing sucks, so it makes sense. But yeah, you're right. Like there's also like such a thing as like kind of a lost cause in the season. Not to say the Saints are there quite yet, but like soon teams will be clearly in that bucket with Carolina, right, and New England. So you got to embrace the suck at some point. I don't
I
know. I
wonder
don't
if
know why
there's
it's
like
different.
is it different maybe because like there's a factor of like rules against tanking in the NBA compared to the NFL that we're unaware of? That'd be an interesting deep dive rabbit hole after this pod to see like what
Maybe.
the difference in the rules are.
Well, the NBA has the lottery, which the NFL doesn't. So you would think, if anything, that would make it so that the NBA is tanking less. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. But
I
that's
love it when you
the
talk
feel
out
that
your
I
ass.
get. Me too. I like to sing.
Oh, all right. I got sexual quickly. Dude,
All right.
the score for the audience, I know you've been wondering. The score between Eddie and I is 132.16 to 132.92.
I'm
One
still in
catch
front.
and it's over.
Unless it goes for -3 yards, then it's not.
There's no chance they're running bubble screens to Garrett Wilson with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And it looks like the Bills are about to take the lead. So
If only
I'm
Nathaniel
liking my
Hackett was
chances
still
here.
in charge. Why didn't they fire Saleh next week? Damn it.
This is crazy. It's so exciting.
Actually, Garrett got popped in the end zone a while back. Neither of us said anything. I was worried
Oh,
he
yeah,
got
that's true.
concussed.
That's a
Yeah,
factor.
I'm glad he did that. He's still in there. Just to be clear on that, I'll never root for injuries. But I am sweating, and I hate that it's coming down to the last 3 minutes. Of course it is.
I'm wiping my knee right now because my hand is a little sweaty from excitement. Okay, so that's that update. Next game, let's briefly talk about the Cardinals went at the Packers, and the Packers blew them out. And there was a lot of bullshit turnovers on the Cardinals side, and I mentioned it earlier in the pod, but I'm not touching the Cardinals in any bet, whether I'm fading them or betting with them. Dude, fuck them. I can't believe how inconsistent they are. It's got to be so frustrating to be a Cardinals fan. I don't get it. I don't know why they're like this.
It starts with Kyler, man.
Yeah, he's not good, and then also
He had another
good.
stinker.
Yeah, but also he got beat by some really shitty turnovers. He was throwing balls to his receivers. He has a lot of good balls, and his receivers.
He's a good quarterback, to be clear. Yeah, he's a good quarterback. But he's like so inconsistent, you're right. And even though he had some good balls, he also had some really questionable throws too.
Yeah.
And it feels like he's like locked into McBride all the time, which I get. McBride is awesome. But I don't know. He doesn't seem to want to throw to anyone who's not McBride or like Greg Dortch, which is random.
I'll tell you this, man. I think McBride is the best tight end in the league.
I think so too, actually. He's awesome.
You just watch him, man. He just passes the eye test with flying colors.
He moves like so fluidly. Like what your casual NFL fan thinks Kelsey is, or I guess used to think Kelsey was, that's what McBride is now. He's so fast. And he's like still really strong and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He runs like a receiver sometimes.
But he's huge too. He's off the charts.
And he also blocks really well. Yeah, he's perfect.
But that's pretty much that's it for this game. Oh, well, also the Packers look good. I thought the Packers showed a lot of life, and Love had a great game. He had a few mistakes here and there, but it wasn't nearly as bad as last week.
I think that was the get right game for Green Bay, which they desperately needed.
Dude, you know who got right? Freaking Joe Mixon. He came
Oh
back
my God.
and talk about a running back being needed by their team. He really showed. He fucking destroyed
Right?
them single-handedly.
It's crazy how bad their running game looked those 4 weeks without him. And then the first game back, they look like one of the better rushing offenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And this is without Nico Collins to provide a downfield threat. So I guess
Dude,
Mixon really is that good, huh?
I maybe oversimplifying it, but it just comes back to that idea that if you're establishing that run game
Yeah.
with a competent running back, boy, are you a tough team to beat when you have a good quarterback. So I think when the Texans have their line fully healthy and then they have Mixon back there, they might be better than the Chiefs in the AFC.
Wow. Okay.
Hot
like
take,
that.
I know.
That is hot, though.
But
Yeah.
they
And
have to be healthy.
That's much different than what you were saying a couple weeks ago.
They made a statement, man. I know
I'm
it was
not
the
mad at it.
Patriots, but it just kind of showed what they could be whenever they're healthy and they're clicking the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, I think outside of Baltimore, surely Houston is the biggest threat to Kansas City, right? In the AFC. Small note from that game, which I actually didn't watch that much of. Did Drake May look good, or did he just put up some big numbers?
He was a typical rookie in that game. He had a few good throws showing his potential, but he was clunky. Looked like a guy that had never played an NFL game before. Clunky in the sense that like he was just sloppy and like really simple play action handoffs or missing simple underneath throws. He's just making rookie mistakes. But he had a few good throws that were like, oh, that was nice. Good for him.
Yeah.
And they have a few weapons. So Drake May is the right move. I've already alluded to it, but there's no reason why. It's either you rest your quarterback for like 2 years and learning behind somebody that's good, or you're playing them. Because the worst case scenario we're playing them is they get hurt. The next worst case scenario is your team is bad, but then you're going to get somebody really good in the draft. So I like Andy Dalton, but I don't agree with the move. Jacoby Brissett shouldn't have been playing for the Patriots. So I think they're making the right move, removing to Drake May. They should have done it sooner, honestly. I mean, Jacoby Brissett he's thrown it for a total of 2 touchdowns this season, which is like, come on.
Yeah. Well, the conspiracy theorist in me wants to believe that they intentionally left Drake out because they had a really tough schedule the first few weeks, and they wanted to leave Jacoby out there to sort of soak up all that damage.
I see.
But probably not.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. That doesn't seem very likely. I hope Drake May's good, though. We need more good quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, we do. Pause for our sponsors. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Browns with the Eagles. Eagles were favored by 8.5 points. And remember when I first saw that line for the Eagles? I was like, dude, they're not good. Why would you give them 8.5 points? That's ridiculous. And lo and behold, it was close. It was a close game, and the Eagles were mid, if not bad, and barely beat the Browns. But the biggest story in this game, dude,
is it Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, it's gotten to this point where it's just like,
it's unbelievable.
I kind of want to see how bad he can get. Like,
right?
This is ridiculous. We haven't talked about this yet, you and I, but dude, Watson is literally historically bad, not just for the Cleveland Browns, but in NFL history.
It's pretty shocking, dude. Like, he looks like a 50-year-old man out there, you know? Like
Yeah.
he's like fat and slow, and like all his passes are like slow and wobbly. It's weird. I don't know what's going on. I mean, not that I
Well,
really care. It's entertaining. You're right.
I got to play a little bit of devil's advocate. His
Okay.
offensive line's been really, really bad.
Well, that's true.
Really,
Yeah.
really bad. Not
But
helping him at all.
I mean, yeah.
He's on pace for 88 sacks right now, and the record, Houston Texans' David Carr got 76 sacks in their inaugural season. 88 sacks is a lot of sacks.
That's insane. I hope they get there. Well, I know the Browns owner, not the owner, sorry, the head coach. Is this Stefanski? Is that who it is?
Yeah, Kevin Stefanski, former coach of the year.
Yep, coach of the year. Stefanski said right after the game, Deshaun's our quarterback. We're sticking with him. Not in that exact
Fucking crazy.
like phrasing, but that's what he said. And immediately, like all the talking heads on Reddit, or not even just Reddit, like any like public forum, really. Everyone's
It's
saying
become the hottest thing to talk about is
Well,
how
yeah.
bad everybody can see how bad Watson has been, and
Right.
Stefanski is like unwavering in saying that.
unflappable.
Yeah, it's weird. Watson will be the starter next week again, and nobody understands it. And everybody in the media, and I'm going to test if one of them is you, knows how many Browns quarterbacks there have been that have been better than Deshaun Watson. So
Define better. Is this the game?
all right. So Deshaun Watson now has an average quarterback rating of 44.9. Since 2000, the Browns have had a litany of quarterbacks that have played for them, and all of them have had a higher QBR than Deshaun Watson. So, how many can you name?
Ooh,
And it's as simple as that.
damn, that's hard. Okay. I'll start with Colt McCoy. That's one. Johnny Manziel. That's two. Brian Hoyer. 3. Joe Flacco. 4.
4.
So it's about to get hard.
Dude, you can do it.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
some pretty obvious ones in there.
Brandon Whedon. That's 5.
Yep, he's on the list.
I'm not gonna get close, man. There's a lot.
You're at 5.
And I had like a lull away from football for a couple of years in the mid 2010s. I got nothing from the 2000s, I'm pretty sure. It's the Browns. You know, it's the Browns. Who's going to...
Remember a guy named Brady Quinn? Giving you a little bit.
Brady Quinn. Thank you. Yes, I remember him.
I'm just going to give you that to stimulate get the gears going, you know?
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of more recent ones that I feel like I should know, but it's just been... Who was before Deshaun?
Oh, this is a big one. One was drafted by the Browns. He's doing pretty good right now.
Oh, Baker Mayfield. Of course.
Baker Mayfield. I know
That's
our
what I was
audience
forgetting.
gonna
Yeah.
screaming his name.
Yeah, no shit. Well, I was thinking of a recent one, and I just couldn't. And it was like obvious, and yeah, that's who it was. I just couldn't place it. After that, I honestly don't think I have anything. I could sit here for a while and try to guess another one or two.
Okay, well, it's around 20. I didn't
insane.
count. But I'm going to name the unique ones. All of these quarterbacks have played better when they started a game for the Browns. Jacoby Brissett, Nick Mullins, Case Keenum, Tyrod Taylor.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Kevin Hogan,
I know all of
Deshaun Kaiser. Deshaun Kaiser. He played 15 games and had a higher QBR. Cody Kessler, Robert Griffin III, 5 games.
Oh, damn it, I got it.
Josh McCown, Johnny Manziel,
And
Josh
him.
McCown, Austin Davis, Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel, Connor Shaw, Brandon Whedon, Jason Campbell, Thad Lewis, Colt McCoy, Seneca Wallace, Jake Delhomme, Derek Anderson.
Let's go.
I know. Colt McCoy, Brady Quinn, Derek Anderson, Ken Dorsey, Bruce Gronkowski, Charlie Fry, Derek Anderson again, Trent Dilfer, Charlie Fry.
What? I would not have guessed Trent.
Oh, dude, there's going to be the most interesting name on this list is last. Jeff Garcia, Luke McCown,
Let's go.
Kelly Holcomb, Tim Couch, Kelly Holcomb, Tim Couch, Spurgeon Wynn, Tim Couch, and last but not least, our very own Doug Peterson.
No shit, huh? I wouldn't have guessed him.
Doug Peterson. In 2000, he started 8 games for the Browns.
I feel really bad about that. I should have gotten the following. I should have gotten Brissett, McCown, obviously RG3, obviously, I guess we said Baker. And here I am blanking again. I don't know. I should have gotten at least 5 more. That was a rough showing. I'm sorry.
It might have been more than 20. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it was too rough. You had a few games you didn't get, but that's okay. That's a tough game, but
it is. It's the Browns.
Still fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have gotten RG3.
Anyways, he was bad, and the Eagles barely won. All right, let's move on. Let's see.
I still think the Eagles will be in the playoffs, but yeah, I'll leave it. I'm serious.
I don't think they're very good. I think they're going to start driving games to bad teams inevitably, but that's just me.
That's fair. I don't think they're great.
Okay. The Colts beat the Titans. Joe Flacco played, even though Richardson was relatively healthy and could have played. Then the Chargers beat the shit out of the Broncos. And Bo Nix, but he was not very good. He looked a lot like Justin Fields to me in the highlights I saw. He was just running to run, and I don't know. He doesn't really have great vision, but that's just
he has no anticipation.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, not yet, at least. Yeah, he might have more hope than Fields, but who knows? Then in an ugly game, nobody cares about. The Steelers beat the Raiders, beat the shit out of them. Aiden O'Connell is the quarterback for the Raiders, and he's god awful. Atlanta spanked the Panthers. All these favorites, man, just fucking up people.
Well, the Panthers are ass. Bijan, all hell Bijan.
Dude, I do have notes on this game. Kirk was great, and everybody on the Falcons was really good. Bijan and company played really well, finally.
Yeah.
But imagine that the Cowboys made the decision to move on from Dak, and they got Kirk instead. How much better you guys would have been off?
We'd be at least 1 win better right now, I think.
Really?
I think so. Actually, this isn't Kirk, but not this past offseason, but the one before when Rodgers was being a baby. I honestly was really hoping that Jerry would pull the ultimate Jerry move and, I don't know, sort of lose his mind or something and then trade Dak for Rodgers and picks. Because I think that also would have been better. Obviously Rodgers got hurt, but I would still take a 40-year-old Rodgers over this Dak, to be honest with you. And Kirk for sure would be better than both. Because you're right, Kirk was looking finally he's looking like what he looked like in Minnesota those last couple of years, which is good to see. So good for the Falcons. They're going to be good, hopefully.
Yeah, they're 4-2. And I think
it'll be them
probably
versus the Bucs.
I think they're going to beat the Bucs in the division.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I'm really interested to see them play.
That's pretty much it for that game. I just feel like the Falcons deserve a lot of credit. They've been playing really well. Then the other game we haven't talked about is Bengals-Giants. Bengals at Giants, fucking ugly game. I would hate to stay up late to watch that game on the East Coast. But shit, that was shitty.
That's fair. Dude, Burrow ripped off a 50-yard run. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. He was more athletic than I expected in that run, so that was cool.
Outside of that, it was pretty boring.
Literally the only thing that happened that was cool in that game was that
Pretty
run.
much, yeah.
I just noticed this note you have on the sheet. You're fucking cooked. You're gonna win, dude.
Dude,
Unless the Jets get
don't
the
say
ball
that.
back,
Don't say
you're gonna
that.
win.
No, I'll
For
find a way to
context,
cook it.
looks like the Jets or Rodgers just threw an interception, and it was Mike Williams slipped, and the defender came over and picked him off. But yeah, the score is still what it was earlier, 132 to 192. 132.92 to 132.16. So I still need one catch. And unless the Jets don't get the ball, it seems unlikely. They have all 3 timeouts. They just used one, and we'll see.
It's not
Maybe
out of reach.
we'll find out before the
next
end
time.
of the pod. Okay. Any other notes? Anything that you saw from the weekend you want to talk about? Anything else?
I think that's all I got. I went on my Cowboys rant, so exercise some demons.
rant.
Hold on, let me do one quick scroll. Just want to make sure. Oh, okay. Small note. Can you rank right now, in terms of likelihood, your top 5 MVP candidates? Not for like who you would have if you were choosing MVP, just for like odds. In terms of like if you had to bet. So don't guess the Vegas odds. Just guess if you had to bet winners.
I think it's going to be from number 1 likely to least likely. I think it's going to be right now. Lamar Jackson is probably number 1.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels 2. Josh Allen 3.
It gets hard, right?
Mahomes 4.
Yeah.
He has to be. He has to be. They're still undefeated. He's thrown 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, but they keep winning.
Right, and he's a celebrity. Yeah.
Then Purdy 5, and then I would probably throw either Goff or Love. You have to, dude. You got to put an NFC North player.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
You know.
That's a good list.
Dude, you might have gotten your wish. Josh
Am I
Allen
squeaking
just got
out?
first down.
Yeah. Holy shit.
You lucky son of a bitch.
No, don't. I'm not lucky. I will show you my roster. It's an infirmary.
I meant to show you this last week, but I also had the same situation for a different league I'm in. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. But basically, I was also, my team was in the infirmary.
It's the worst.
Dude, last week I had a team. I started this team. Josh Allen, Tank Bigsby, Jalen Warren, Xavier Legette, Brian Thomas, Isaiah Likely, Evan Ingram, DK Metcalf, Jake Moody, and the Chicago defense. I lost by 3 points. Everybody else on my bench, Saquon Barkley had a bye. Jonathan Taylor was hurt. Didn't play. Jalen Warren, literally my only option. So I took the risk, and he didn't play. Rashee Rice,
dead.
He's on my team. Khalil Shakur also got hurt. And then Ricky Pearsall. So, yeah, just fucking rough overall.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. Injuries have been...
But yours was also an infirmary.
Yeah.
Why was yours an infirmary? Who did you lose this week?
Well, this week it was just Marvin who gave me a goose egg because he got concussed in the first half. last week it was Nico. The week before it was Jonathan Taylor. Week 2 it was Puka Nacua. I also lost Brian Robinson this week, but I didn't play him. And then I think there was another receiver, but it was rough. So I don't even know who I'm playing next week in terms of like who I'm starting, because I'm pretty sure Harrison won't play and Puka won't be back. That's why I feel like I need to rack up wins so I can just get to the playoffs, but I don't know. That's fantasy.
Well,
GG's.
yeah, GG. You got you barely won, but counts.
I did. I feel not great about it. I'll take it.
So we got some feedback last week, and I wanted to bring it up before we end the call. And the pod. So we brought up the hurricane drama and saying that Whataburger was the one that we would pay attention to, is to see if it's a serious hurricane or not. It's actually the Waffle House Index, not the Whataburger Index.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Raj.
And then we got our pronunciation of certain wrong. I think it's certain. Wait, did I say that right? It's certain, not certain. Certain.
Okay. I feel like I've heard both, so I don't know which one's right, but I'll believe certain.
And they got a question. Are Burrow's Bengals reminiscent of the Romo's Cowboys? Great QB receiver duo getting screwed by a shit defense and horrible play calling. I don't know if Zach Taylor can be worse than our Jason Garrett years, right? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great comparison, actually. I think Burrow's in another tier compared to Romo, and I loved Romo. I thought Romo was actually quite underrated, but no, Burrow's like top 3 or 4 in the league consistently. Romo had maybe 2 years at that level, but yeah, same vibes. Like moron coach, really good quarterback, and then turnstile defense. Yeah, that's the recipe.
It's a good take.
Good submission.
Well, let's move on to our corners, man. What's in your corner? Let's go over to your corner. What's going on with you, man? What's going on with you?
Yeah, it was a good weekend in Detroit. I mentioned that some of my high school buddies have been trying to tell me to convert to lionhood, but that's not who I am. But me and Jamie had been talking since we moved about, like, first of all, going to a Lions game, which we still haven't done, but we may still. But for sure, what we were going to do was like just go to a sports bar and watch Cowboys Lions game. So that was the plan for a while. We ended up not doing that because I had wanted to go to the Texas X's watch party here in Detroit, Detroit Texas X's, for the OU game, which is also this weekend. And we didn't really feel like drinking 2 days in a row. So we just chose to go to the Detroit Texas X's. And it was fun. Obviously, Texas did great. Hook 'em, baby. And then we got another big game coming up. But it was a much different experience compared to my DC Texas X's experience. So in DC, I guess the cities are much different, right? So it makes sense. But the DC org was like massive. And I made like some pretty solid friends. You know, nothing like, no lifetime pen pals or anything like that. But
yeah, no,
it was like
nobody like me, you know.
No,
nothing like that.
You're one of a kind, Simone. But it was like a good social outlet. So whereas here it was like 15 people roughly. And I guess, I mean, I don't want to hate on it. It was a good time, but I don't know. It seemed like not everyone knew each other. And it was like a kind of a weird distribution of folks, but we sat down at a table with this one guy who shall remain nameless. But he was an older dude, and I don't know. We were talking to him about like his experience in Austin, stuff like that, and he was talking to us about ours. And it was like a fine conversation and stuff. It was mostly like football related. And then by the end, like right around third quarter ish, I guess we'd had enough to drink, and then we started asking about more personal stuff. Not even really that personal, but I asked him, so how do you like Ann Arbor? Because we had talked about the Texas versus Michigan game. I had asked him if he went, which he did not. Doesn't matter. And then he says, yeah, Ann Arbor's, it's nice, but it's just too liberal for me. And then me and Jamie both kind of looked at each other and we're like, oh, okay. And then he could tell that we didn't really know what to say to that. He was an older dude, if you had to guess.
How old are we talking?
Well, I didn't ask him that one. When I asked him, he told me to fuck off. But I would have to guess, like, I mean, at least 50, probably closer to 60, or maybe past 60. Yeah, he said he was.
We're not talking like elderly. We're just talking older.
He's just older, yeah. But I don't know. He was fine. And then he could tell we were a little bit uncomfortable by his comment. And it's not like we reacted that much. We just didn't know what to say. But then I guess he felt the need to follow up on that. And he was like, well, it's not liberal like Detroit. There are different kinds of liberal. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And then we just left it at that. And then also the game was like, it's not that the game was boring as a Texas fan. It was great. But the vibe was getting a little bit boring, like being at the bar. Also, there was a baseball game going on. The Tigers got eliminated that day. So the bar was packed initially, and then people filtered out after that game ended as well. So we decided to leave. And I don't know. Nothing really that special happened, but it was kind of one of those weird vibes where, like, you go out to watch a game, right? And then you're, like, excited about it. But then by halftime, you're like, oh, I wish I just stayed at home. So I don't know. I mean, I'll make it back out with the Detroit Texas X's maybe for the A&M game, or maybe not until the OU game next year. But I guess DC set too high of a standard. But also, I'm glad we didn't go out for the Cowboys-Lions game, because that would have been a rough time for me. So yeah, what about you? I know you had a lot going on this weekend.
I had a eventful weekend, I'd say. I had an Austin City Limits weekend too, which was a mistake in the first place. I didn't mean to book weekend two.
Oh, really?
Because of the OU, the Red River rivalry. Say that 3 times fast. Red River rivalry. Red River rivalry. Can't be done. Yeah. So, anyways, you can't really. It was too late for me to swap tickets, so just rolled with it. Joey and I went to ACL, and we got the VIP passes, and that's dope because you get all kinds of free shit, and they give you like free massages, and you get your own space, your own concierge, like free electrolytes, sunblock. I mean, you name it, all that little shit's complimentary.
That's nice, yeah.
And then last year, they even gave you free food, but this year they don't do that. So it was actually pretty close to kind of breaking even with the price of the ticket compared to how much you would have spent buying drinks, because a 16-ounce Miller Lite, $18 at ACL. So if you're drinking to get drunk, and it's going to cost you a pretty penny. So if you're planning on doing that, then VIP is the way to go. But now with the food no longer being free, it was close, but not the case with Joey. So he hilariously was trying to overcome 75 drinks over the course of 3 days.
That was his goal that he set?
Yeah. How close do you think he got?
Oh, God. I'm going to take a guess. 65 drinks. That's so many. What did he do?
Good guess, I think. I think it was like, actually, shoot, I can't remember. I know it was like 55, 56 or something like that.
Jeez.
So you multiply that by $20 for the average drink. you're looking at $1,000.
He didn't even sneak anything in or anything. Wow.
He didn't what?
He didn't sneak anything in.
No, there was no need to. Like everything.
Oh well,
was,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he was VIP. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Good job, Joey.
that was fun. It was fun to watch him just. This is a weird thing to say out loud. It was fun to watch him binge drink heavily.
It's amazing.
No repercussions.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's a couple stories that I could say that I won't because that wouldn't be fair, but it's a great time with you.
Well, myself, I didn't have the same expectations, but I drank a lot as well, and it was still a good time. Another funny thing that happens, I thought was, I was in the middle of a show. It was the Pretty Lights show, and there was this guy. Everybody was vibing out. It's like, have you ever been to an electronic show and everybody's, oh, what's up, dude? Yeah, I love you. Like, I just met you, but I think I love you. Everybody was like that.
I love your vibe.
Well, this dude with like a straw hat, like a big straw hat.
Uh-huh.
He came up to me and he puts his hand out. He's like, he wants to dap me up. So I'm like, hey, I dap him up. He's like, dude. He beats, like he pounds my chest. He's like, you're fucking cool. I'm like, thanks. He's like, you gay? I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, okay. And then he walks off.
He walked away? No. You ruined his day.
I respect him for shooting a shot, but
right.
That was the interaction as a whole.
Incredible.
But anyways, that's what happened this weekend. There's a bunch of other shit that happened, but that's what I'll tell you.
Good choice.
Well,
if I was in Texas, I would have gone.
Oh man, we would have loved to have had you. We would have convinced you to buy the VIP ticket, and I'm doing it again.
Probably.
It is worth it. All the conveniences, including the shade, because it's the other thing you get with it. Is, dude, it was bloody hot this weekend. But you get shade everywhere for VIP.
Well, I remember last year it was like insanely packed, and from the photos I saw this weekend, it seemed even more packed. Was that the case? Or was it about this?
Dude, it was out of control. Well, we got to go. It's been a great pod, per usual. I think we cut it down a little bit, but still, we're working on it. We have our plans to shorten the pod. So thanks for listening, and until next week.
Happy fall.
Happy fall. Enjoy the temperatures, Eddie. It's getting nice and cool.
Oh, it already does. Feels great.
Bye now.